I'd love to welcome you to Master Your Life Beyond the Boardroom podcast, a place for ambitious individuals to capture proud moments on who they've become. It's a discussion that finds insights, the highs and the lows on where they have been at stages in their life. A safe space to share and openly talk about their journey. So if you're on a journey yourself and you're wanting to stretch, go further and farther than you've ever thought was possible, mastering your life is something that will connect you with your identity. I'm excited to be welcoming some very interesting guests to add value to your journey. For more information and to stay in the loop on what Master Your Life is all about and gain more value, head over to www.master-your-life.co.uk. Subscribe to my newsletter and stay in the loop. Let's get to it. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Your Life Beyond the Boardroom. I am your host, Luke Beastall, and I have a very, very interesting guest because, well, I know I say this pretty much all of the time, but this is what I really love about this podcast show is just the people that, number one, I connect with, and the people that I've connected with years ago. And this is exactly, I'm going back to my footballing days here. You know, I talk a lot about that, especially with the mental health side of things, but I'm bringing on Ben today, and I'm going to introduce him just in a second, but I always, as you know, love to kind of go a little bit of a backstory, share a little bit about how we kind of connected. So it was via LinkedIn. Gosh, I mean, we're talking probably 12 years ago now, maybe, or no, probably, what would you say, Ben, 10 years ago, maybe 11 years ago?
A bit like, 10 years.
Yeah. So Ben at the time was the actual manager at Wellingborough Town, and I was obviously living in Kettering, and we just connected anyway. He was looking for a left-sided player. I don't know what happened. It just didn't kind of go through, but we've always followed each other since, and Ben runs an actual, would you say consultancy or coaching company?
Yeah, coaching and consultancy.
Yeah.
It's gone more consultancy over the last few years.
I thought so. So it's Pulse coaching, and he works 2-to-1, 1-to-1 with people, and he is a first team coach at St. Ives Town. He's got an abundance of experience, and he's been in business 10 years. So this is going to be so exciting to delve deep into that, but also his personal side, like what's been going on beyond work, as obviously with the podcast itself, Beyond the Boardroom. So Ben, listen, mate, I just want to welcome you to the podcast.
Appreciate it. Can't wait, and really looking forward to it. Yeah, it's going to be insightful, hopefully. Not from obviously just my point of view, but your point of view.
No, definitely. We're gonna learn a lot, obviously, from your side as well. I know that you've been through a lot in your life. It's never just been plain sailing. It's never just been easy. So this is just, like you say, a safe space for the next hour to just dig in and see what we can extract. And I just know it's going to add value to the audience. So just to kind of kick this off, obviously we've spoken about your consultancy and coaching. I'd just love to know what decided or what brought you into the coaching world.
So I actually started coaching when I was 16. So
wow.
I looked after an under 12s at the age of 16.
Mad.
Which I found mad, and it was quite testing because there's that respect. It's, am I going to get respected? Are they going to listen? Am I going to be able to coach them? Are they going to be coachable kids? But I was obviously kind of background was cricket, so was trying to be a cricketer and didn't really happen for whatever reason. It wasn't the game back then that it is now. It's probably a very good game to get into, I think, in fairness. Just loved football, loved coaching. So did my level 1, did my level 2. I was on the B licence really early at a young age, and then all of a sudden I found myself on the A licence, which, having not played at the best of levels, it was just awesome learning. I know there's quite a issues out there with, you don't need your badges, you don't need this, you don't need that, or the FA could do it in a different way. They helped me massively because from a learning point of view, it was something that I felt I needed. And the people that were on it, you were learning from. So, but I wanted to stay in it and decided to approach a college that was local to me and said, would you think about running a football academy if I did it? And they basically said, I'll give you 2 weeks and see what you can do. But the college was international. So it was basically, we had international students, but it was, could we recruit those international students to come into a football academy? And we did. And I think after 12 years after I left, we were in and around the 120 players mark, both male and females. But that kickstarted my coaching career really, and just went from there. It was mad.
No, that's really good. So when you said you got given that, I guess 2 weeks trial in a way, was that when you were 16, or when was that?
So started coaching when I was 16, looking after the under 12s. Just thought, right, got the bug.
Of course.
I didn't just want to stop at that, but I was playing, you were doing other things, living life, but coaching was a big part of it. So I think between like the ages of 18 and 20, I thought it's fine, it's cool, it's what I'm doing, but I need to go to the next level. So they just said, go on, there's 2 weeks. First game we had 10 players, not even 11. We got massively beaten by a very heavy score. I remember it like it was yesterday, but it didn't put me off. It just didn't put me off. It sent me the other way, and I just wanted to make it work.
I think just that opportunity right there, how you obviously got gifted that in a way. They given you that the platform to express yourself, see what you can do. I love the fact that you got knocked down hard. You got beat, pants were down kind of thing, but that you didn't let that affect you. You thought, I'm going to get up and go. And I think this is really good for the guys listening to this, just to pick that little bit up just initially right now, because it's really, really good stuff. So I don't know whether the college ever said this to you, but what do you feel that they saw in you at such a young age to give you this, I guess, big responsibility?
Well, I think I had the balls to do it. So basically, I went up, I saw the principal, I knew the principal, and I saw him in town. I think England were playing, it was the Euros. I can't remember exactly when it was, and I thought, do you know what? I'd heard bits and bobs, and I just went up to him and said, "Look, I suppose you're not you're looking for a football coach, are you?" And he said, "Yeah, actually, we are. We've got a group of lads who just want to do football once or twice a week, but it wasn't going to be 5, 6, 7 days a week." And I thought, do you know what? It's a start. So I went and did it, and I did. You've got something here. I genuinely think you're recruiting students from all around the world. Your college, from an educational point of view, is of a high standard. Why not? Can we do something different? And I think it was because of the way I approached him and said, and I was being selfish. I don't hide from that. But I wanted a job in football. I didn't see myself going into the pro game to run academies at that age, not at that time. So give myself something to get my teeth into. And I guess it was probably that. I think he just thought, you know what, this lad's just come up to me and said, let's do it. And we did it.
No, credit to you as well, Ben, the fact that you had gone out there, created that opportunity for yourself. It was like, I'm going to take responsibility of this. I'm going to take ownership of this scenario and go up to the principal and go, listen, I see potential in this. I see this going somewhere. So, when you went through this trial period, you obviously at that point had complete no idea whether you was, number one, going to get any sort of income from it, or number two, whether this had any legs in it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was, I wouldn't say scary, but I get a thrill from it. For me, it's a big thing to say, it's not gonna not work. For me, it's always going to be positive. It's going to work. Okay, we had 10 players on the first game. We'll make sure we've got 11 the next one, then 12, then 13. Therefore, if it's international students, where are we going to recruit from? How are we getting them? It was not in an arrogant way, but if you're going to approach someone to ask something like that, then you've got to back it up and say, do you know what? I'm going to make it work. And if in a month's time he'd have turned around and gone, look, like the idea is come back in a year's time or whatever, that's cool. I wouldn't have took it personally. I wouldn't have, I say this now, I wouldn't have took it as kind of rejection or anything like that, but I wasn't in that mindset for to be in that position. It was, this is going to work no matter what.
Yeah, and I think this is strong stuff you're saying. I can hear the passion in it. I can tell that you had nothing to lose, really, more to gain, kind of thing. It was like, look, I'm willing to take this risk. Would you say just even going back in time a little bit, Ben, to even your childhood and stuff like that, where did you build this confidence?
I wasn't confident. People think I hate it.
Why do you hate it?
Yeah, I genuinely like keeping myself to myself.
Oh,
If you were to ask me to go and present an award, like Player of the Year or something like that, I would be curled up in a corner. It just wouldn't be me getting on a
okay.
mic. And that's nothing against the people that you're trying to help or anything like that. If you ask me to speak in front of 20 lads or a female group at a college, football, cricket based, it's easy. It just comes so natural to me. And it kind of works for me. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't say it's just confidence in certain situations and certain parts, not necessarily kind of going, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, this, and this. It's like if there's a certain area, that's what I'll do. Otherwise, I'm kind of like, nah, that's not for me.
Right, right. No, listen, I understand that you're quite a humble guy. I know that, but I think there's a sense of reassurance though that you do give others through your own confidence and through your experience. But I just wondered, going back in time, was there any experiences that you can kind of recall on that had given you that belief? Because obviously I can tell there's a lot of belief in your own ability.
I always remember, so when I was trying to play cricket or be a cricketer, my old man took me to Northants and it was Saturday, Sunday, and it was 7 till 7.
Oh yeah,
That was our training regime, and it wasn't the facilities that Northants have got now. It was the old indoor school. It was just basically a shell of a building. It was freezing cold in the winter, and when you say people it's 7 to 7, I mean 7 till 7. It wasn't like get there for 7, we'll start about 9, we'll have a breakfast. It was bowling, batting, fit. It was relentless, and I was the only one from not a public school background in the group that I was working with. So I was training to be. So this is when I'd left school and what have you before the college. Training to be a bricklayer at Malton College, and trying to then also, get into Northampton's academy. So it was crazy. Absolutely knackered Monday to Friday, trying to lay bricks, trying to just freezing cold
yeah.
all the time, to then doing exactly the same, but trying to play cricket on a Saturday and Sunday. And yeah, I was the only one. Yeah, what did you do in the week? Well, I go to Stowe School or public school. I was laying bricks. Like, that's where did you go to school then? I was like it didn't bother me, but it kind of there was that bit of a block and a bit of a guard to me just because of where I was coming from.
Where was you coming from, Ben? Sorry, just so I understand and the guys listening, was your private school or what happened?
No, I wasn't private school. No,
All right.
I was the only one not. I'd say there was. So we all got invited in over the winter period. So I'd probably say there was about 22 lads who were all trying to get into the second team at Northampton, contract and what have you. And I'd say I was the only one not from a private school background.
I see. Okay.
So
Yeah.
it was different.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't what I was used to, and it was tough. But I kind of just looked at it and said, "You can look at me however you like. If you stick me in there against you, I'm just as good as you." So I think a lot of people would have just walked away, like genuinely. But because of my love for cricket and because of my desire to want to do it, I thought 7 till 7, just be me. Stick the pads on. Make sure you bat. Make sure you bowl well. See you later. I don't need to
Yeah.
know you outside of that environment. I don't want to know you outside of that environment. So I'm here for one reason, and let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is great though, Ben. I mean, even such a young age to go into these environments. I mean, even now in today's society, I mean, we won't go off on a tangent here, but just to understand it, there's not many people that would have the courage to step in. Because it's not even that you were discriminated by anyway, but people feel that, oh, I'm not in the right room, I'm in the wrong room kind of thing, and just run away and they never go back. It's like, oh my gosh, I've just crushed my dreams in an instant.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I just want to know, because obviously there's a fire in your belly, you can feel that. And I know the guys listening will feel that and sense that in the tone of your voice. You've got a very managerial, strong manner, and that's why obviously you're doing what you're doing today. But I would love to know, where did this kind of come from? Where did it was it your old man that instilled it in you? Was it just something from a young age? Like, I'd just love to know where you found it.
yeah. I'd say just probably like from a young age. No disrespect to my family or old man or mum or anything like that or my sisters. I think it was just me.
Okay.
I think it was just. I know a lot of people say this, and when they say it, I think they genuinely mean it. I just want to win, and I was always quite a young coach that Yes, and I'm still the same now, and I don't hide it from the players or parents that I work with. I don't hide the fact that development is massive, but so is that winning mentality. Because if you're in a winning environment, it's a damn sight better than losing.
Well, of course, yeah.
I know you learn a lot from losing, but you also learn a lot from winning as well. Like, it's a big thing. And I'm not just saying it's all rosy and it's like, oh, yeah, well, 10 games unbeaten, stuff like this. You're still learning within those 10 games. Nothing's perfection. Everything I did as a kid, I just wanted to win. So having that conversation with the principal at the college, I saw that as a personal battle to say, do you know what? He's give me 2 weeks. I'm going to win that battle, and I'm going to see if I can get something from it. The cricket, the indoor schools, the 7 till 7, being the only one not from a nice school and stuff like that. I'm gonna prove to you. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. You just have to learn with it. So I'd say probably from a young age, and then probably halfway through my life, it probably changed. But then it's come back in a big way.
Yeah, definitely. It's like it's kind of be as part of your identity in a way. And I think what I love about what you shared though there, which I'm just going to pick up on, is that it wasn't handed to you, but it's not even as though you've been exposed to it. So obviously, when I have conversations with, with guys, with females that are doing what they're doing, like running businesses and stuff, it's like maybe come through the family tree. It's like maybe they started, or maybe they've kind of, it's like, yeah, well, I've always had those kind of conversations with my parents. Both people are business owners, so I guess really it's been instilled in me from such a young age. Obviously, for you, you've just clearly said that wasn't really the case for me. I found this. I want to win. I want to step out my comfort zone. I want to go after it. Now, you also said there, which I do want to touch on, is where you said it was there, then it changed, and now it's kind of come back. So when did you lose that?
I think it ebbs and flows. I think every time you have a setback, it just disappears, and then it's how quickly you can get it back. Will you get it back? Because I know some people don't, and it's really hard. I think being in football, you're right up there at one point, and then you're right down there in the next point. The college that I started and ran, and I'm proud of the academy because it's still going now, but it ended on a really sour note. And I didn't like the way it ended. I didn't like the way I got treated. It had a massive impact on everything away from work, social life and stuff like that. And it took me a long time to try and get it back and see where I wanted to go. But my experience and I guess the knowledge that I gained whilst trying to be in that organisation actually helped me go to the next level and the next company, next organisation. It did. It I thought it might go the other way, but it didn't, and it actually pushed me on to just keep going and going and going. I think through COVID, everybody had it. I think everybody got knocked back. Nobody was expecting it. I was going through a divorce, so that was all coming in, and then it just from the very young age, it was kind of like there, and then all of a sudden it just started to dip and then come back, and then you felt $1 million, and then you felt like this is not happening for you. I never lost faith with it. Like literally never ever lost faith with kind of where I wanted to be. And that's still the same, even at my age.
Yeah. No, definitely. And when you say at your age, just so the audience have a bit of context, how old are you now, Ben?
44.
If you don't mind sharing. 40?
44.
44. Prime, mate. Prime.
Yeah, that's how I look at it. Like it's cool for me. Like it's just a number.
Definitely. Yeah. And you can just tell, obviously, in your energy and stuff. And obviously, you just shared the COVID world and stuff. And I know so many people that listen in on this have had an experience. I mean, I put my hand up as well. I had to navigate. I had a terrible time. My business closed overnight. Obviously, you did 'cause you see people in person and stuff. So just to kind of recall, what has been your biggest setback of your life so far? And what did you do to navigate it and come out?
I'd say leaving college that, I was very proud to start, and I actually really enjoyed working there. Do you know what I mean? It was literally around the corner. I'd just been to Australia for them. So I did all the recruitment and absolutely appreciate and will always acknowledge what the opportunities I had to go and see the world through this job, which I'd never have done. I don't think I'd never have seen some of the parts of the world that I've been lucky enough to see, and I'll always appreciate that. And I just got back from Oz, and 2 directors called me in and they said, "You're going, we're putting you on gardening leave." And I was jet lagged. My head was all over the place. I was like, are you sure? What is going on? We've had this report, blah, blah, blah. We need to investigate it. from then on, the world literally, I've come back from Australia, the
Yeah, of
world
course.
literally just turned upside down. I couldn't believe it. Like what I was hearing, what somebody had done to me. So there was a couple of people who'd kind of filed a complaint, stuff like that. I thought, no worries. Like it happens, it's workplace. Um, but I was seeing my mum and dad. I was seeing my wife at the time. We were having to meet in different places around the local area to meet investigators. And I just couldn't believe it. And I've always held my hand up if I've made mistakes.
Yeah.
And I just felt at that time that it was completely wrong. The way it was done, the timing, having just been to a trip.
Yeah, yeah.
It settled down. 2 or 3 days later, I got a text from one of the people who kind of reported me saying, "Congratulations, it was such and such, you got you the sack." And I was like, wow. And to this day, it is still on my phone. And it just, so as angry as I
Of
was,
course.
I just took a back seat, like didn't breathe to 10, you breathe to like 50, 100, 200, 300, and went, "Do you know what? Cool. I can't do anything about it. I can literally now just sit here and, be upset, cry about it, or I can just keep reading that message and just go for it." And it was the biggest setback. But also, if I saw those guys now, I'd literally walk up to them and go, "Thank you." It was probably the best thing you could have done for me at that time because it was kind of stale. It was 12 years. I was looking to get out. And I'm not just saying that because of what happened.
No.
I was genuinely looking to get out, but it was too comfortable. I was never going to get out of it. And they allowed me to go out of it and just pursue different things. And it was as big a setback as it was just also really good for me at the same time. And like I say, I've got that message on my phone still.
Wow. Wow. Do you use that as a driving force to
Yeah,
kind of keep going? Yeah, right. Okay.
like you wouldn't believe. I'm a big believer in. I always think if someone is saying something about you and it's not in a positive way, 9 times out of 10, I think it's a lot of jealousy.
100%.
I wouldn't have dealt with that very well when I was younger. I didn't see that. I'd have been like, "Why is he saying? Why are they saying that? Why?" But now it's kind of like, okay, no worries. And the best thing about it was one of the persons involved, just before we opened the academy, I had a letter about him and I completely ignored it to give him the chance. And 12 years later, it comes back on me. So it was just a massive drive for me to just, yeah, I'm doing this. I'm gonna prove everybody wrong.
Yeah, and I think that just going back to what you said earlier, Ben, about you'd lost it, but then it come back. Obviously, if you go back to when you first started that role 12 years ago, at that time, it's you wanted to prove people wrong. You want to say, listen, we've got this. I can do this. I'm not relying on you. I'm only relying on myself and what my output is and what I can do and believing in yourself again. And I think you were every right to be frustrated. I mean, the timing of that, I could imagine. I could really feel it for you. The fact that you've just come from a nice, I guess it were really sunny out there. You felt
Beautiful.
like you're in that chilled, Aussie, happy lifestyle. Everyone's cool. Everyone's chilling. Feel good about stuff. And it's like, right, I'm back home. Smash. Hammer into the ground. What the hell? Like you say, your world's just done a 360. You're upside down. Just to kind of understand a little bit more about this, how long would you say that this affected you for, like, in terms of emotional stuff? What impact did it have on your day to day? And then I guess, yeah, the moves out of that.
I think day to day was probably the biggest impact because you
Right.
just
Okay.
didn't know what I just didn't know where I was going. I'd only ever known for 12 years, really. I'd not done anything else. It was football, it was organisations, it was fixtures, it was recruitment, it was Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, it was Nigeria, it was Hong Kong.
Wow.
But that was having an impact on my family life that I hadn't even seen yet. And then bingo, when it happened, you're like, right, what am I going to do? Can I approach another academy? Is anybody going to take me on? Is my reputation going to be ruined? Who are people going to believe? And I just, yeah, I didn't know what I was going to do. Start looking at jobs, looking in the paper, what's out there, I'd only ever known one thing. So I'd say daily basis, it was waking up and going, okay, what's the next step? And financially, I think they knew they were in a position, even though I was on gardening leave and what have you, that they couldn't really do too much to get rid of me straight away. So financially, I was okay, but it was the bigger picture. It was like, what am I going to do in 6 weeks' time? What am I going to do in 8 weeks, 10 weeks' time? So daily, it probably had a bigger impact.
Yeah, no, 100%, I'm sure. And just where you said it, you didn't realize at the time how much it affected the family life. What impact did it have on the family then that you didn't see, but obviously now you know more about, I guess?
Well, I was just going off to these awesome countries traveling. When I lost the job, it had an impact, but
Yeah, of course.
I couldn't believe it. I was on a plane, like I said, to Sydney, then Melbourne, then Brisbane. I'd never have ever seen these countries if it wasn't for this job. And you're 30 degrees, surfer's paradise. My sister lives in Perth, so it was like quite handy. Coaching a couple of hours, then just going to see, Sydney. And I'm like, I've got a wife and I've got kids.
Right.
But I got so embraced and engrossed in the job because I'd started it and I didn't want it to be any different way. Everything else, and I mean, I can openly admit it, everything else just, got forgotten.
Right. Yeah, and do you know what? This is not uncommon, by the way, just what you shared there. It's very easy to, it's excitement. It's your life. You've only got one life, one shot. Obviously, this is an unbelievable opportunity, and you have a right to kind of delve into it. So what happened then as a result of what you've just shared there? Because I think, for people to understand, obviously it's gonna cause some stress. It's gonna cause some neglect. I guess people are like, oh, is he even really bothered about us as a family kind of thing? So yeah, tell us a bit more about that.
I said this the other day to someone. I think it's really, if you're a surgeon, a lawyer, a dentist, work in a shop, whatever, like, I don't think anybody ever questions it. It's like, oh, that's your job. You're a dentist, so you're going to
Yeah.
go into your surgery today and you're going to work on someone's mouth and make them, really happy, and or not by taking fillings out or whatever. But it's when you say your job is football, it's like, oh, that's a hobby. No, it's not. It's my job. I get paid for it. But it's always been looked upon as in, so you're spending time away from your family to go and do football. And I'm like, no, I'm spending time away from my family to earn a living. That's what I'm doing. So that's what I'm trying to say. For as good as it was to be away in these places, people weren't looking at it like that. He's in Nigeria, he's in Lagos, he must be having a worldie of a time. And you're like, no, like yes and no, but it's your job. And even to this day, when I go out on a Saturday afternoon with St Ives or scout it, last night was at a game watching, it's like, oh, he's at football again. He's out just doing what he loves to. Yeah, I'm out doing what I love doing, but I'm getting paid for it.
Yeah.
So don't look at it upon me to say that I'm missing out on things with people that were close to me because I'm just doing. It's not, no disrespect to the lads who go out and play on Sunday mornings or whatever. I've always been lucky enough to be supported and paid for by my job, which is football or cricket. And I am so lucky, like so lucky to do it. But it's a living. It's something that I have to do just like the surgeon or the lawyer or someone in a shop, But I always just think it gets questioned of us.
Yeah, definitely. But you've created your own look though, Ben, with that. You've done all of that from your own, like say, belief, confidence, going out there, asking those questions, letting people know that, look, this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm great at. You've done the badges, you've done the education, you've got the results and testimonials and stuff to back it up. You've got skin in the game, 10 years in business, so I'd love to know from your own perspective, why do you think people frown upon what you do day to day as football? It's just a hobby, not a living.
Probably because how much you love it. I think when you see enjoyment of it, I'm not saying a dentist doesn't enjoy taking people's teeth out or anything like that. I think they do. Yeah, I just think it's because I don't know, if someone comes to see you on the sideline of a football match, they'd be like, my God, look at it. Like you know what it's like. Yeah, it's not a gimmick. It's the energy that the game gives to you, or that moment gives to you, or that certain situation, scenario gives to you. And I think it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's that jealousy thing again of like, look, how cool is that? He's really enjoying his job. But I think if you asked a paramedic, they'd say the same. The thrill of it, of getting in a ambulance, if you asked a firefighter, I think they'd say the same as well. Getting in, turning the sirens on, boom, we're going to go and save someone's life. And But I don't think anybody looks at them and goes, oh, like, that's a hobby, isn't it? Well, it's not a hobby, is it? They're going to go and save someone's life because they want to do it. They're very, very good at what they do. And I'm not saying I'm very good at what I do. I just absolutely love it. For me, when I'm in a one-to-one, and I don't mean this in any bad way, who's close to me, nothing else matters because that player at that time needs my attention. If this starts drifting off into other areas, I'm going to lose them. They're going to lose me. I'm going to forget what I've said to them. I'm going to probably go off my session, not, go off track off my session plan. So you just have to embrace and put yourself into it. And I think, a lot of parents say to me, they'll stop this session and they'll just go, you love it, don't you? And I'm like, but you have to. You not have to. It's why you do it, or you'd be doing something else.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I know you said it about it being a living, really, but I think for you, Ben, obviously you've got such a passion and energy for working with individuals, changing their life, improving their skill set. That the bonus is that you are getting paid for it. That's kind of the incentive. It's just like, oh, cool, it's an added bonus, but the reality is you're just showing up for people. And I think where you just said there about nothing else matters, right? When you're in that one-to-one, would you say then that when you had those hardships and those like setbacks and those really tough times in your life behind closed doors, what people will never be able to see and truly understand, was that kind of not an escape, but was that kind of a part of you that really helped you through it?
Yeah, like you wouldn't believe, especially during COVID. I was lucky enough to kind of keep coaching during COVID.
Okay.
Distances,
Yeah.
like one-to-ones. It was hilarious. I'd do most of my sessions at cricket grounds because the outfields are lovely.
The outdoors, yeah.
Yeah, you're outdoors, just fresh air, but the kid had to walk round the outfield, couldn't come anywhere. But I tell you what, just seeing someone at that point and going, like, now, this afternoon when the players walk through to me, I'm like, yeah, good week. How'd you get on at the weekend? Stuff like that. But then it was like, there's actually someone coming to me. And it was so, so good. And I didn't realize the impact that we were having on the players that we were coaching, or I was coaching during that time. And I use it now. I say, do you know what? If you've had a bad game at the weekend, you've come to me for a reason. You obviously think it's not working what you're doing with your team. Let's embrace it and work together. Forget about your match. You've got another one this weekend. Let's give it a go. And not every session I run goes well. There's times when you walk out, you get in the car and go,
yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But it doesn't mean to say that you didn't think of it in any different way. You thought of it the same way. You can't get to the outcome until it's with you. You can't see what the outcome is going to be. You know what you want it to be because you want that player to improve. But it's kind of like you can't deal with that until the end. I say to football groups all the time, we get you at the start, we get you at half time, and we get you at the end. And at the end, it's too late because the match is finished. And it's a bit similar with the one-to-ones. I know for an hour I'm just going to be taken away by this player. We're just going to talk about the development, what they're doing. I have this thing where I always ask them what they're having for the dinner and stuff like that, just to take them away in a different world.
Yeah.
And they love it. They look at me gone out. They look at me like, what is he doing? Why is he asking me if I'm having a pizza again? I'm here to play football. But then you know what they do? 2 weeks later, they come in and go, guess what I'm having for tea, Ben? And I'm like, so you're now in, and it's just that real cool, like chilled vibe that, yes, maybe when that session finishes, you go, oh my God, I've got this text to reply to, this email to reply to. But for that point, it didn't matter. It really didn't matter.
No, and I love that. I love that. I think COVID taught us a lot, right? For some people, it was catastrophic. I get that. But like you say, you still learn something from it. The impact that you've been able to deliver. I like the fact that the questions that you ask and the way that you deal with people, obviously, it shows that you are a people person. Obviously, you breed coaching. It's not, I guess, a living. It's like a way of life for you. You absolutely love it. You embrace it. You embody it. I mean, you've been coaching for almost 28 years now. Do you still love it as much now as you did back then? More? Okay. In what way?
I never thought I'd say that. Because I think when you're obviously young, it's like a job, isn't it? It's like, oh yeah, this is a great job. This is brilliant. This is starting to peter off. And
yeah.
I'm gone the other way. Like probably because I've gone away from colleges now. I'm a touch wood. I hope to not do, I don't want to be employed by someone. So I've tried it. I tried it at the start of this football season. I went back into an academy to try and lead a program, and I absolutely hated it. Hated it. The day-to-day running of it,
Right.
the people around it, the club itself. I thought, this is just not me. And I thought, do you know what? I said I'd go and give it a go just to see if it was something I'd want to do. And spoke to my partner, and she's going, you can't walk away. You've only just gone in. I said, I can walk away, because if I'm not happy, I'm not doing it. And I don't mean that in a bad way towards them. I said, I've got to look after myself, and I'm not looking after myself at the minute. So I just literally got my book out, wrote down pros and cons of walking away, and what am I going to do? Can I give this a bit more of a go? Can I try and help? And I just went, I know which way I want to go. And that has just given me like the extra boost of, I know going to St Ives twice a week, I can give that my full attention. It's not like a bit on the side where I'm going, oh, I've got St Ives, I haven't prepped for the game on Saturday. That gets
Yeah.
my full attention now. My one-to-ones this afternoon, planned, done. I know who I've got. I know my timings. I know what time to get to the facility. I know what time I'm going to be reviewing to them in the morning, sending the footage. The drive and the hunger and the desire to do it is just unbelievable. And the learning. And I'd say these, and I'm not just saying it because I'm on one, because reading's done the same thing for me as well. But just listening to different people, you're like, I can do that. I think if I didn't listen to people or read what some of the books that I've been reading at the minute, I'd just be going in a straight line, and that desire and hunger would just be like, I'm a coach. That's it. But there's not. I want to do better. Like, I literally, even at 44, and it is just a number to me. I want to be the best coach I can be. I don't want to stay at St Ives. I don't want to just stay with the one-to-one players that I work with. I want them to go and be better and better and better. So it's there like I'd never believe.
No, and you can feel that as well. It is refreshing to hear somebody at your age as well, Ben, to just be so passionate and to say that you love it more as well. I mean, you're absolutely spot on. A lot of people have that initial, energy and I can't wait, and then they see the linear progression, such as like money just going up every 10 years, that kind of thing. Whereas you don't necessarily know where your income could go, but what you do know is that what you can do in that hour with that person and nothing else matters, and you can really give them the service, the attention, the time, and everything that they need in order for them to progress and grow as an individual. And then you can be the best coach you can be, right?
Yeah. And do you know what? During COVID, everybody was doing it. So I was like, hang on, I've been doing this for years. And now all of a sudden you want to start coaching football and cricket one-to-one because you're not going to have a job and you've been made redundant. I got made redundant during COVID.
Really?
I got made redundant, divorced, and lived in a one-bed flat and didn't see my kids during
Mad.
COVID. So like it was how everything, and that's not a pity story. I'm just saying how it is. Like it's cool, right? You just deal with it.
Yeah.
But so you got made redundant, and now you want to go out and start in my area delivering one-to-one sessions, and it was getting in this.
Okay.
I was like, oh my God, when it gets back to normal, all of my players who are going to go on to someone else, what am I going to do? Like, is he a better coach than me? Like, am I going to lose all the players that I've had? And I know that's the environment and nature of the business that we're in. It's even more so now. And, somebody sends me, oh, do you know this lad who's coaching? I'm like, don't care. Good. They're either going to choose him or her, or they're going to choose me. And if it's me, they're choosing me for the right reasons. I don't want to lose any players. I take it personally if I lose players. I've got no issue with it as long as they tell me. Because change happens and they might get bored. They might not think they're developing or working with me. But if someone wants to start something up, it literally just block. No thanks. Don't want to know about it. I'm just doing what I need to do.
That's really good. That's a very solid mindset to have. And just for, again, just checking in with the guys listening in as well, is that obviously you wouldn't have always been in that mindset as you was talking, just going back a little bit where you said, God, I was getting in my head, I was starting to compare and think, hold on a minute. I know what experience, but then you started to kind of slow down a little bit, check and go, actually, I know my worth as a coach, I know my value, I know my expertise, and I know what I can do. And at the end of the day, it's in their hands. It's not in my hands. I can't tell them what they need to be doing and what they should be doing. It's generally up to them, but I'll let them do what they want to do. And listen, I'm here as an opportunity if they want to lean into it. But something that's screaming out to me now, obviously, which I think is just an experience that's just like really hit a light bulb in my mind, where you said you was in a one-bed flat. This is go one-bed flat, right? Mm-hmm. You didn't see your kids. Mm-hmm. You was going through divorce. Mm-hmm. What was going on in Ben's world back then?
God, I wouldn't even like to answer that one. Not in the way that, not with how it was happening back then.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think you can you can dress it up and say, I was down, negative.
Yeah, yeah.
But everybody was. That's how I looked at it. It
Yeah, yeah.
wasn't like I got made redundant. Ben's been made redundant, but the whole world is carrying on the same. So it's like that. I think I'd have probably been worse. I'd have been like, I've been made redundant, but look at them, they're cracking on and they're doing that. And I was made redundant and everybody was going through really bad times. You could see it just because it was so unexpected. And I think if you've come out of that, I think fair play to you. I think it's class because I think it shows a lot about those people that have done that, the character they are and what have you. And some people wouldn't have. And it's crap, isn't it? But it's just the way it was. I did, I'm not a PT, and I did a thing called Body Blaster online.
All
Um,
right.
where I said to people, I'm just bored. I'm bored. I can't, it was the early stages. I can't coach. I can't get out. I'm not allowed to use football grounds, cricket grounds. I've always tried to keep, I've not been one of these people that uses or try not to use now, especially recs or parks. I want the kids to feel safe. I want the people
Okay.
to come to
Yeah,
me. And
yeah.
I work with pros and I work with semi pros. So it's quite nice. I don't want them coming to dog and duck. Do you know what I mean?
No, no, yeah, yeah.
So I couldn't get to these places. So then I was messaging a few people and I said, do you fancy doing an online class once a week? And I'll do it online and I'll do it in my flat. I'll clear everything out of my little pokey living room, which was also my kitchen and my bedroom. And they were like, yeah, but what are you going to charge? I said, nothing. I just need something myself. I said, I'm not saying it's going to be good because I'm not a PT. So don't come to me thinking I'm going to do this, this, and this because I'm not making you any promises. I said, if you want to join at 7 o'clock on Thursday evening, then go for it. If not, no worries. I'll shut the laptop and I'll just crack on. And it was phenomenal. Absolute. It got me my draw. It was just, I can never say thanks to them people enough because they were coming on and going, Ben, you were like jumping up and down and you're doing this and you're doing that. And the music was great. And we just wanted to keep going and going and going. We've seen you put your flat back together and then and I said, guys, you will never, ever know what you did for me because bang, it just got me back. And I was like, right, let's do this. I didn't want to get into PT, and that's not what I'm
No,
saying.
no, no, no,
Body
no.
Blaster didn't continue because it was bad, but it was just class for me. It was you were buzzing for the Thursday night or whenever we did it to go. Oh my god, I'm doing an online thing tonight, and it's the best thing of the week.
Mm.
And yeah, it got me back. Like my girls started coming back to me, and we were doing it at home and stuff like that. And it was class. It was absolutely brilliant, and it made me smile from ear to ear on a regular basis through when times weren't great, but it was just brilliant.
Yeah, no, you can tell it was, but I think as well, just even like going through what you've already shared in today's episode, the fact that you are a people person, you like being around people, you obviously vibe off people's energy, and the fact that you'd gone to that place where, come on, let's be honest, you must have felt isolated.
Mm-hmm.
We all did anyway, but I'm saying you must have felt very isolated, quite lonely, probably not many conversations going on because obviously you're so used to talking day to day. I can relate, in when I was doing personal training. I mean, gosh, 8 to 10 hours of coaching a day, you talk to 8 different people a day. It's a lot. And then it stops. Now, it's a big shock to the system. So for you then, obviously, this is a common thing. Obviously, when people go through these big shifts like COVID or divorces, not seeing the kids, all that kind of stuff. Would you say that you still put yourself first? You always looked after your own well-being through that time? Or would you say that you had a bit of a rough period?
So I do 5K a day without fail.
Wow.
So on top of so every morning I'll just do 5K because that is my period of time where the headphones go in. Sometimes the headphones don't go in. I've heard you guys say it. I'm with you.
Yeah.
On that. It's like no phone, thanks. I don't even care if my Garmin's on or whatever.
Yeah.
I know my 5K route and I'm just legging it. And I did that at least 2 or 3 times a day during COVID because it was the only thing to get me out of the house on my bike, on my own, stuff like that. But that's where I fell in love with podcasts because that's where they came.
Yes.
I'm not saying podcasts weren't a thing before COVID.
No.
But people wanted to do stuff, and I don't blame them at all. Why wouldn't you try something new during COVID? Why wouldn't it give you a new lease of life? Because if you ain't going to be positive during that time, you're never going to be positive because you had to do something to make things happen. And it was always me trying to be out. It was always me sticking headphones in, listening to different people, funny ones, serious ones, kind of, life-based ones. And I thought I was doing okay. And then there was a period when I wasn't. And then it got comfortable again after COVID cleared off. And I think you just then put everything down a little bit. You're like, oh, this is really cool. I don't need to do my 5K a day and stuff like that. And I remember going round to one of my sister's parties when everything opened back up, and it was brilliant being back with people. And one of my family members turned around to me and said, wow, you got a dad bod. And I was like,
Wow.
what? And he was jesting. He was joking.
Yeah.
But I didn't take it as a joke. I've been doing this, and this. I've been doing 5K a day, and but I was boozing, I was drinking, and because of the time, and it was hard and what have you. And I thought, do you know what? He's probably right. Like how fit I used to think I wasn't. And that was 3 years ago. And since then, I'd like to think I've nailed what I do on a daily basis to just keep this sane, keep me fit, because I think in the environment and in industry that we're in, if you're trying to say something to a player or someone in a one-to-one, you've got to kind of do it yourself as well. So
Massively.
It didn't half open my eyes.
Yeah, no, and it's good to hear that, and probably as well. I mean, this is just my take, and you can absolutely, Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at that moment in time when your family member had said that to you, that was probably a bit of a sign that behind closed doors, what people couldn't see, that you were probably not doing what you normally do and the standards that you normally would hold for yourself because of the mindset that you was in, and and how it was affecting your day to day.
Yeah, and I think I know a lot of people have been on yours and other podcasts, and I totally get it. Like, it's good to talk, and males get this kind of aura about them. They don't talk. They do, like they do. But they only talk to people that they want to talk to. I think 9 times out of 10.
Very true.
Now, I did a podcast the other day. I didn't know the geezer, but when I got off it, I was like, he's really cool.
Yeah.
And I just openly talked to him. So that's no different. And that's why when I say to a parent, like, your kid is genuinely a nice lad, you're a legend. And I'm not just saying that so you come back next week. If you don't book back in with me, you don't book back in with me. But for that hour, you have been absolutely brilliant to work with, because you've engaged with me. You asked how my day was. You asked how my daughters were, who you know. You asked you asked if we won at the weekend. And I'm like, that is talking. That's just, but for that period where you go and shut your door to a 1-bed flat and you're not seeing your kids, that's when you're not talking, and that's when it just goes
massively. Yeah.
And then you come back out of it. But how are you going to get back out of it? And can you get back out of it in a positive light? And that's tough. It's really tough.
But the thing is, though, Ben, just to kind of check in with that, mate, it's absolutely okay to be sad, to feel low, I mean, I just want to say this as well, because I know what you've got to do day to day when you're a coach. When you walk in that room, you've got to make their day. You've got to give them an experience that they'll never forget. But you know what? Sometimes it's okay to just let that guard down, be that vulnerable, and say, if they check in with you and go, hey, Ben, how are you? Just say, do you know what? I'm not actually great at the moment, but do you know what? You're helping me by being here, by showing up for me today. You're actually bringing me up. And they say that about you. They'll say that about you. Say, God, if I didn't have that session with you today, I don't know what would. I've had a really bad day. So it works both ways, right? So I just want to really ask you this question, and I think this will be good for you, just to really kind of bring all of this, the highs and lows together. What would you want to say to our audience from going through what you've been through, from the isolation to COVID, to being made redundant, to having that 12-year, career path comfortably just stripped away from you instantly as soon as you land? What would you love to say to them as a bit of wisdom from your own life experience?
It happens, like, genuinely, and that's why I wanted to come on, because I don't see myself as a big personality, or I can do this or I can do that. I'm just me. That's it.
You are big, though.
But you can be positive with it. Like,
you
can, for every setback, and everybody has had them, and I totally get it. And I'm no saint, and I don't mind admitting that. And you can change. That's what I'd love people to take from it, because it winds me up that people think a person can't change their ways, because they bloody can. And I know especially now with my daughters and my business and my family life and the partner, I am not the person I was, I'd say 4 or 5 years ago. And I needed to get away from something, which was a massive decision in my life, i.e., family, daughters, and stuff like that, to get them back to where I need to be today, to be in that positive kind of manner. And I'm just so pleased I did it, because you can change. There is nothing to stop you. If you don't think you can change, you're just going to stay in this rut. It's going to be the same thing all the time, or you can actually embrace it and just take it on. I.e., the message on my phone from running an academy for 12 years. A little bit of motivation needed. I'll read that. And like I said, if I saw them dudes now, I'd just go up to them and say, cheers, you've actually helped me. But that was one setback to go forwards, to then another setback some 10 years later, to then go 2 or 3 steps forwards. And yeah, you just got to be positive with it. And it's not a cover. It's not a gimmick. It's not me just because I'm on a podcast. This is how I feel today. You could interview me tomorrow and I'd probably be a bit like, ooh, sessions weren't great last night, stuff like that. But that's the way it is. It doesn't mean to say that my life's hell and really bad at the minute. It's just kind of saying that's how I feel today. But tomorrow I know I'm going to be okay. And I've changed. I'd like to think I've changed in such a big way.
I know it's only a snippet that we've got here. We can't go through life. We'd be sat talking for days, right? But I think just knowing that you've said, number one, take a point, shit happens, okay? But I think the biggest kind of light at the end of the tunnel is the fact that you can change. You've got the ability. You've got your own actions. It's in your control. Obviously, there's things that are out of your control, right? But there's also things that are in your control. But it's like people say, isn't it? Nothing changes if nothing changes. Obviously, you've made that change. But just so people can hear just from your experience, Ben, when you said, yeah, shit happens, when like shit happened for you and you were like rock bottom, felt a bit isolated, what actions did you take that maybe people can like take an insight away from that helped you get back into that positive state?
God, loads. So I sound like I'm always exercising, but I'm genuinely not. I run every day, I walk every day.
It's a massive thing.
So me and the missus walk every day. I have to do one walk a day. And people will be like, you just done 5K, what you doing? No, you don't get it. It's like I've just sat in front of my Mac for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Doing dates, getting schedules, who's in next week, assessment forms for my players. Where am I next? I need to there's a forest close by. I'm going through it. Only just 2K, 10 minutes, whatever. Like, I'm going to get the milk. It's a walk.
Yeah.
I've never journaled in my life. Never. I journal 3 times a week.
Brilliant.
So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, set days. I know I'm doing it. It's not massive. And then some days, I've just been looking through it actually this morning. I'm like, wow, what am I writing? This is like double page. I hated school. I hated writing. I'm no good at it. I can't spell I just pants it. But I'd looked at it again to say, that's cool. That was positive. That's not very good. That's fine. And just putting things down. Podcast books, never a reader, never ever a reader in all my life. I don't read enough, and I'll happily admit that. But I do. But this is all time, and I know people don't have the time. But even if you just took 5 minutes to read a chapter or to journal or to stick a podcast on, you don't have to listen to it for the hour. Like, go back to it, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And it's weird because I've got my favorites and I never thought I'd go over a podcast again and again. But there's just something that hits with you and you're like, do you know what? I'm listening to that one again because when I did listen to it, I know how I felt before, during and after. And I need that little bit of a G up, a bit of a lift.
What podcast was that, Ben? Just curious.
So Eddie Howe, High Performance.
Nice.
So Newcastle manager.
Yeah.
Because I follow them.
No. This is good. Just if anyone want, any fellow football people might listen.
Absolutely randomly, James Haskell one on No, it wasn't. It was the Johnny Wilkinson one. So he does a mindset one.
Right.
James Haskell is a loose cannon, like a proper loose.
Yeah.
Comes across as a loose cannon, but my God, he knew his stuff, and it was like, he's just like, I'm getting up in life. I need a pillar. I need a certain type of pillar. I need this. I need my mattress. When I go to DJ in Ibiza, I'm like, what? People do that. Like, it's mad. And they do. And that's cool. I'd never known that unless I listened to that. But yeah, there's there's just such an array of learning and listening out there, that I can be busy, but then just take yourself away from it and go, it ain't important. That session this afternoon will run itself. Worst case, I've got a session plan in mind. I just need to go and switch off. And now, when they're here, my time around my job, which is football, is devoted to those girls of mine, because I've got 3 just awesome, amazing, flourishing daughters that are just like everything.
No, mate, that nice little piece to kind of conclude that there. But I think as well, just this is something that I said to the guys, that kind of the community that I'm in and stuff. And I said, look, movement is energy, but action is energy. It brings something to the table. It gives you something that you didn't have, or it opens up doors. It kind of gets you thinking and stretching and going, I wonder what if. And that's what, again, if you're stuck in the same place, i.e. sat down a Mac for 8 hours a day, or you don't go out and move, you're just stuck in the 4 walls and you don't talk to anybody, where's your energy going to be at? Are you going to really want to have that get up and go and do it? Probably not. I mean, if people say they do, then they're absolutely lying. But, for you now then, as a result of you taking all of this positive action from being, up and down through life, what's been the best return of investment? Because it is time, it's money, it's a lot of other things, energy as well. What's been the best return of investment for you out of all of this?
I think coming out of, I don't think anybody backed me when I said I had all that crap going on. I think my mum and dad would admit that. I think my partner now would admit it. I think close friends. I only got a real close circle of friends. Don't want loads of them. People who matter a lot to me, stuff like that. It doesn't mean to say that you're not going to engage with anybody different, but I think they would have seen me at the very bottom and not come out of it. And I am absolutely, and I wouldn't say this a lot because I do like to keep myself to myself, I'm proud of what I've done. I'm proud of where I am at the minute. And it's not massive. I don't live in an 8-10 bedroom house, and I don't particularly want to, but I live in a nice house where my girls are comfortable and my partner's comfortable, and we get to do things. That's down to the people who want to come and see me. That's down to the business that I run. It's down to that trust and faith, that engagement like we've been speaking about. And they're a massive part of it. They will never know that because they come, they participate in the session and they go. But they are a massive, massive part of it. The players, the parents, the engagement that you speak to them. I don't just end my session, I review after. So they get something from me. I don't want them walking out of a sports facility at 7 o'clock because they've been with me 6 till 7 and that's it. I want them to go, do you know what? I'm still thinking about that session last night and we didn't do this or we could have done that. So I'm proud of what I've done, like genuinely am. And I'd like to think my partner, the girls, my parents, sisters, stuff like that, can see it and kind of feel it from me as well. So yeah, I'd say that.
That's phenomenal, mate. Absolute credit to you as well, and it's great. It's just great to hear. Just I can tell you're proud of yourself as well. Even when your back's against the wall, there's only you that can change it, right? So absolute credit to you. Well, listen, mate, we're actually getting towards the end of the episode, which is mental because we've been going for literally just over an hour, right?
Yeah,
it flies by, bud. So this is a question I love to ask every guest. I know you've been listening to the episode, so you probably kind of envisioned this was coming your way. So I'd love to know from your own thoughts and feelings, what does mastering your life mean to you?
You know what? It's coming. And when you listen to other people, it's like, I'd say this, I'd say that. And now you've asked it. Where do you see yourself? What do you do? Like, your life's your life. It's what you want it to be. And when you feel as low as some people have and probably are now, the biggest thing, and I know we've said it a lot, is just that change. You can do something about it. You don't have to go and pay someone to go and talk to them. Like, there are other ways of doing it. Embrace the people around you. They're massive. I didn't realise that until probably 4 or 5 years ago. Pick up the phone, speak to people, engage. My daughters are 14, 12 and 10. They're brilliant. They're going on like 20, 18 and 16, bless them. But they're cool to talk to.
Yeah.
Like, they want to know what you're doing and you should want to know what they're doing. And I do on a daily basis, even when they're not here. And then when they are here, that catch-up time with them is just immense. So be positive. you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. Make sure the good days outweigh those crappy days, and just, yeah, honestly, just chuck yourself at it.
Mate, listen, I freaking love that. It's a good little bit to kind of end on, and it's your version as well. This is what I say to honestly every person. It's your version. You never kind of truly master it, but at least you're working towards having the best opportunity to maximize your potential through life, right? So, last little bit from me. Where can people find you, Ben, if they want to connect with you?
I'm just Pulse Coaching. Don't ask me why. It started 10 years ago. It was the most random name ever. So we're on Insta. I'm on as Ben Watts on LinkedIn. We're not out there in a big way. It's kind of, yeah, just Pulse Coaching.
Brilliant. All right, mate. Well, I'll ensure that all goes in the show notes. But listen, final thing from me. I just want to say thank you so much for your openness, your honesty, and coming on the episode today and spending time with us.
Yeah, and it's the same back at you, because I think people, when they see podcast, it's another one. Would I listen to that one? High Performance is right up there and stuff like that. It's class. Like what you're doing. I've listened to a couple of different ones over the last 4 or 5 days, and what you're doing, I think, will have a big impact. So, like, it's a big thank you from me as well.
Oh, cheers, Ben. Appreciate that. That's my mission, to spread the word, bring a wider impact to people, and show people that there is possibility to change, just literally kind of what you've said throughout this entire episode. So thanks again, mate. Thank you so much for tuning in on this episode. If you found this useful and it's provided value to you, if you don't mind, go onto my channel, tap follow, and keep in the loop for more podcast episodes like this. And if you want to go one step further, please leave us a positive review. It would mean the world to us, and it would help spread the message to many more people. And also, if you want to go that one step further again, tag us on socials, drop us a message. I will always respond. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.